Hey guys, it's Paul. I want to quickly show you how to launch a podcast using podbean.com. If you go to pnuk.co/podbean, I'll put a link in the description. I'm going to show you exactly how to launch your podcast today, right? So I launched mine literally yesterday and it was really easy to do. I'm going to go up to on my website, paulnicholson.com, podcast. On Podbean, I've got my own website, my own subdomain, that's podcast.paulnicholson.com. I did all this yesterday. You can launch your podcast, you upload it with the information, you can share it to Twitter, Facebook. If I go to Twitter, you'll see my latest podcast shared. So when they click on it on Twitter, that's this one. So the latest episode's been shared. When they click on it, they can listen to it right there in Twitter. Really cool. I've shared it to Spotify, so people can listen to it on Spotify, save it, do whatever they do on Spotify. I've submitted it to iTunes, but I had a couple of errors, and it's failed the review, but I've just reviewed it again. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you exactly how to launch a podcast using Podbean because it's really cool. So I'm going to quickly talk to you. We're going to jump into it. If you're watching this on YouTube, you are going to see I've itemized the lessons. So don't think you've got to watch the whole video in one go. Don't think that I've got to watch this and then set it all up. I'm going to separate it and I'll tell you what times each lesson starts in there. I'm going to categorize the chapters and the lessons. If you're watching it on my website, I'll have different lessons for each area. So what I always do in these videos is I ask why you're here. It really helps me with my videos. If you can just pause me at this point, just write a comment wherever you're watching it and say, I want to launch this podcast, I want to do this, I want to help somebody launch a podcast. Whatever it might be, it really helps me firstly understand who's watching, and secondly I can point you in the right direction to maybe some better content, some better videos that are going to really suit you, and I can create some videos for you as well. So just pause me at this point and just tell me why you're here. Thanks. So let's talk firstly about pricing. Firstly, there's a free version that's obviously going to be limited, but for what you're doing to start with, it may well be enough. I'm on the $14 a month plan. It says $9 if you pay annually. I'm on $14 a month. That's what I'm paying. So obviously in the free version, you get 5 hours worth of audio, which I would think, depending how many episodes you're going to put out, you're going to use pretty quickly. Versus unlimited, 100 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth versus unmetered. Supports video, so you can straight up upload your video. iPhone's the same. Podcasting theme, so when you go to, I'll show you the free version and then I'll show you what I'm using. Obviously there's better themes to the podcast site that you use. Where it says here, compression podcast stats. Whatever that means. Custom domain. So I use mine podcast.paulnicholson.com rather than paulnicholson.podbean.com. So you're going to get your own domain that you can tag onto your website, or you can make it your main website. So that's a good point. So to map your own domain, that's custom design, doing your own thing. You can add basically adverts to your podcast, and it'll put them in certain places where it thinks it's right, or you can insert adverts from the Podbean network. And then premium sales, I'm guessing you can start to sell your premium audio with PDF content in few clicks. So that's cool. I don't actually know what that is, but the pricing, so we're going to go through the free version, and then I'll jump into mine and show you this $14 version. Obviously these really cool more expensive versions where you can just upload videos, podcast streams, you can network and multiple admins. You obviously have a team that can sign up, premium bandwidth, premium support, and single sign-on. And you can even white label it, looking at that on that $100 a month version. So, but I'm just going to show you the free version, and then I will show you my version for the extras for $14 a month. Cool. So I'm going to show you exactly now how to launch your podcast, and we're going to do it hopefully in the next 30 minutes or so. So we're going to do the free version. Let's start with the free version, and then I'll show you the differences. So let's just sign up. You can just click on Facebook or Google if you want. Sign up for a new account. I'm going to put Paul Tester, paulnicholson.com, password. What's your subdomain? So this is obviously what it will be, .podbean.com. So let's put Paul Test, if that's available. I am not a robot. The username, Paul Nico. That's fine. And create an account. So I think you can change this whenever you want anyway. So don't worry if you don't decide today what this is. So you're going to log in. And up in the top, it'll say my podcast. So you can go and follow other people's. But my podcast, right? So we'll just walk through the separate areas. I've just got an email probably from Podbean saying please confirm. So you're going to have to do that. Confirm your email. And you're all set up, ready to go. Go back to my podcast, right? So I'll talk you through the various settings, and then we'll start the next bit on a new chapter. So here's your dashboard. Basic information on your podcast, where you're going to enter what it's all about, who you are. Feeds in iTunes, you're going to submit it to iTunes and then tell iTunes exactly what it is. A place where you can share the code on your website. We're going to link up to different places to share. In fact, Spotify's not showing there, so maybe on the free version you can't share with Spotify. Own domain. Again, that's not on the free version. This is where you would set your domain up, and then any apps in their app market you may have added. Here's where you see any lessons or anything that's been in there. It's probably an email from Podbean saying this is how to get started. This will be a welcome email saying this is how you get started. Click here, quick start guide. I'll turn my email off in a minute. We don't need it beeping all the time, do we? The layout. This is the layout of your Podbean website. This is what you're going to change. Again, pro themes I don't think are available in the free version. Here's some free themes that we can change. We're going to go into stats, see how many people have viewed it, listened to it, and then obviously premium settings again if you wanted to sell certain content, right? So we're going to dive in and we're going to set up the podcast. So let's firstly sign up. Let's set up what we're going to call it. So we're going to go to dashboard, and it's going to say set up your basic podcast information. So for me, let's call it, I'll just copy what I've done before really. Paul Nicholson's Happy Me Philosophy Show. And then you're going to upload an image. So I have my Happy Me Philosophy image here. When you share this with, it says here, look, to submit your podcast to iTunes, the image must be JPEG or PNG formats in the RGB color space with a minimum size of 1400 by 1400. So when I first did it, I did the size was too small, so I had to make the picture bigger, and a maximum size. So make it square, less than 3000 pixels, and more than 1400, right? So just that's what you need to do. So add your image, select your category. So where do you want this to show? Really on something like iTunes specifically. What category in iTunes is this going to show in? So I put mine in health, self-help. It's not really that, but it's probably more business, management and marketing. I was torn depending on what I'm going to show. So I'm going to put it in business, managing and marketing. Brief description. Paul Nicholson's Happy Me Philosophy. You think I'll be able to spell it now? I think my eyes are going. Learn from my Happy Philosophy. to help build your own. Whatever your description of your podcast is, there's more options here if you want to mess about with it. If you've got your favicon, you'd need an ICO, a .ico file. I'll probably create a different training session for that, just different lesson. Copyright, if you want to put your business in the end of it, or you want to change the information. Country of origin. So this is where do you want it to be sent to. Select a country. This it says here, look. Defines the intended market territory where the podcast is relevant to the consumer. This is defined as a space-separated list. So you can add if you want to do it, but if you want to send it out to the world, click global. Looks like you haven't got a choice on the free version to say if it's an episode or a series episode download link. You can't let them download it. And stats. So you've not got a lot on the free version, but that's fine. Put in your time zone and update. And that is your podcast information setup. Right, so you're going to want, let's talk about adding an episode now. So you're going to need to add episodes. You want to, if you've got one, just add one, but I think iTunes will be happier if you've got more, if you've got 3 or 4 already recorded. But if you go over here to publish, there's a test one here. If we click on it, that's on the page. See, this information is now showing, and here's the test podcast that's there. My voice is going. Just delete it. Well, you want to let's edit it. So you're going to see an image. You're going to see the file name, the title, and a description of what is going to happen in that episode. You can what I did. Well, I'll show you what I did in a minute, but I'm going to delete that because we're going to do a new one, right? So I'm going to publish a new episode. I'm not going to tell you how to record a podcast in this video because you need to record it. However, there's 100 different ways of recording the podcast, but we can talk about that later, and we can, I can show you what I do. But in this, I'm presuming you've already got an MP3 file or some sort of audio file ready to go. So I'm going to click Publish New Podcast. It says you've got 5 hours left. I'm going to go to my audio podcast here, and I'm going to click the file, pick the file, and it's going to start downloading it, right? It's going to ask me to add the image to that. And if you've already, we've already set up the podcast image. I would say most of the time you're going to use that if it's just the podcast. But I guess you can add a new image if you want to. This is Trust the Feel. Charge what you believe. I've just pointed at the screen, which doesn't help you. Believe. Happy Me Philosophy. Podcast. Episode. In this case, it's 1, not 15, right? Episode 1. Put in, obviously type it out, put in, come visit. You probably have to put HTTPC. In fact, come visit podcast. So put in a description of your video, of whatever your podcast is. Once you're not going to be able to save it until it's finished downloading. Now it's downloaded, uploaded. There's some more options here. I'm not sure what you were going to change. The duration, it's going to know. If you wanted to change the permalink so that it's a different title, you might want to put episode 1 here. iTunes season. If it's a season, I'm not sure it'll let you with the free version. So if you're doing episodes versus seasons, you want to change that. You don't really need to mess too much with this extra information here, but again, I'll put another lesson into advanced settings and what you want it to do. You can change the episode number there if you want, and publish, right? And that is now published. So we now have a live episode. You can click it. I don't know if I've got sound on.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Welcome to the Happy Me Philosophy podcast, episode 15.
And it'll play. So the podcast there now is the first one. So again, you're going to want to set up 3 or 4, 5 episodes. to before you submit it anywhere, it's good to have a couple. I think they'll accept it with one, but if you haven't, then just upload a few more. Let me just talk you through another option you can do as well when you upload your episode. So if I go to dashboard, no, where am I? Settings. Go to settings and then say social share. What it's going to let you do at the same time is post your new episode directly to one of these networks. The only one that's missing is Spotify on the free version. So you'd have to pay the $14 a month to get Spotify. But what you're going to do is you can connect to Facebook. I've already done it, so it gets that I've done it. But you would get a little box there saying accept. Then it's going to say which pages do you want to share it with, right? So you can share it with all your different relative pages you can share. And you've got an option here. Oh, you can't do it on the free version again. You can do it on the paid version. Is to post a link to the episode or create it as a video. In the paid version, it creates a video and posts it on Facebook direct as a video, which is pretty cool. I'm going to turn this off. Connect again on YouTube. Function is available in unlimited. Again, you got to pay. It's a bit annoying, but what you can do is as you launch an episode as you publish the episode, it also posts it to YouTube and it becomes a new YouTube video. Let me just show you on my channel where you already are. My channel. So I've just done it, right? So my latest videos, the top one's going to be Trust the Feel, episode 14.
Believing in. So whether it's charging $5,000 for a product that you think's only worth that.
So that's what that button does. Now, where was I? Yeah, right. So you can do it, and again with Twitter, you can connect to Twitter, and it will automatically post a link. And what I showed you on my Twitter page, this is what it posts. As soon as you publish, it posts that. Again,
hey
same
guys,
thing. So this is where you're going to share on your publication. You're going to link it and share it. So in the free version, it's just going to share the links. In the more premium version, it's going to share a video if you want it to. Cool? So let's talk about submitting to iTunes, getting your podcast on iTunes, right? So you're going to go here first. This is an important feed, this one here. You're going to need this link when you go to iTunes, right? So first thing you want to do before you submit is fill out this information. So the iTunes feed ID, you don't know what it is until afterwards, right? The iTunes feed is the ID you received after you register the podcast service. So you don't know this one. iTunes summary is the information. Paul Nicholson's Happy Me Philosophy Podcast. And put in more information. Put in your description of what it's all about. iTunes owner, author is Paul Nicholson. It's your name, obviously. Subtitle, Learn Your Happy Me Philosophy from, I don't know, listening to mine. Whatever it is. So main summary, a quick headline, subtitle. Put in your email address so they can email you. iTunes explicit. Is there swearing in it? Is there any offensive language in it? Yes or no? This is a clean one. Episodic versus serial. So I think serial's where you do seasons. Specify serial when you want your episode presented and recommended first to last. This option. Oh, serial, yeah. So just do it first to last. If it's episodic, default. Specify for standalone episodes or when you want your episodes presented and recommended last to first. Okay, so you want to do it first to last. If you want to do it last to first, the first one shows. Let's get this right. Presented and recommended last to first. This option also supports seasons with the newest episode at the top. Right, so it's going to be the newest first. Serial when you want your episode presented and recommended first to last. So if you want episode 1, yeah, I've been to podcasts like this. If you want episode 1 to always be at the top, use serial. If you're happy that the latest episode is the top version, leave it as episodic. iTunes block, use if they are no longer creating podcasts. So if you turn it off, turn it off. iTunes new feed URL. I don't know what that means. You can this is basically what it's going to say. iTunes explicit. This is what it's going to show. It's not actually previewing. It's just showing you a picture of what it'll look like. Did I fill everything out? Yeah. Update options. And then we're going to go to iTunes and submit a podcast, right? So there's no actual link. Podbean, if you're watching, it'd be really cool if you just put the link here to where to click. Or if I go here to this is how to do it. There isn't any link. So I had to go iTunes submit podcast. So Google iTunes submit podcast. Right, and then go here, iTunes.apple.com module, blah blah blah. I'll put a link to that. So this is where it's a pink screen. I'm gonna connect and submit my podcast. Right, so I'm gonna log in. Hopefully it does. Because I'm a developer on iTunes, it sometimes puts me in the wrong place. No, I'm okay. So here's the place where you're gonna put that feed. Right. So we're gonna go back to here and grab this feed. This is all iTunes is asking for. It's not asking for any more information than this. So you're going to validate the feed. And it's going to pick up that information that we've put in. Description, Paul Nicholson's podcast, copyright, website link. And it's picked up the episodes. And it said it's happy. So what I found is it said you're not right. And it'll come up with a red bar up here and say, well, it wasn't right. Before I didn't have a big enough image. And it said it's going to fail. So then all you've got to do is click submit. I'm not going to submit this because I'm not going to actually put it through to iTunes. But you click submit. It'll take 24 hours, 48 hours for them to review it. And then hopefully you'll get everything's okay. And you are then on iTunes. Cool. So hopefully that works. This may be a funky place. So there's going to be links on my video to places where you can come to my forum and ask questions, or you can ask questions on the video and I will help you out by creating fixes and showing you how mine got on there. So if you get any problems at this point, leave comments, start talking to me, I will help you. So let's talk about some sharing options with this free version. So obviously you've got your website that you can edit and change wherever you want, but you can share from here to Facebook, right? So I can share directly to Facebook. Usually with Facebook it picks up the image on the second hit, right? It's just the way the debugger works. So if I go share, it will pick the image up. There you go. See, the second time it seems to pick the image up. So you can just straight out share on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, is that Tumblr? And other places directly from there. But you might want to put this on your website somewhere. So where you can go to settings, embed player, and you can add the whole thing to a website. So if I go preview and get code, I might want it to be a different color, preview and get code. Do it in blue, and then grab this code. So this is going to share the whole well, it's going to show the last 10 episodes, right? So where do we want to share this? I'll do it on my forum. I think it's set up. So if I wanted to share my forum, write a new topic, latest podcast. I don't have a WordPress site to show you. So what in my forum you can see here. So I've just created that, embed code, and now I can add that information. All the latest episodes will show on there, right? I'm going to delete that. So basically all you're doing is adding that code to your website. If you get problems again, come to this forum. You're going to see the Podbean training area. Tell me which platform you're trying to share it on. I don't currently have access to a WordPress platform, but all you would do in WordPress is create a new post. Go into type your text above. Go into the code viewer settings and just paste the code and it'll work. I'll try and get access to a WordPress site, but anywhere you want it to show up, you can add this code, right? What you can also do in the same thing is go to publish. Oh, there, it was there. And you can see here, share and embed. And this time you can just share the actual episode that you're doing, right? So if I go back to here, I've already deleted that. I can do a new topic. Oh, go away. New topic. New podcast. Paste that in, and there, this time it's just that episode, right? So you want to new podcast. I've got to be a certain length. So there. So now it's a embedded just that episode. So when you write your WordPress blog or whatever you're going to write, you're going to just drop in that code saying, here's the latest blog post episode, and share that code, right? So I'll just go through that again. To do it an individual episode, share and embed is here. To do the whole thing, share and embed is here, the embeddable player. And you can't change it too much in the free version. So hopefully that bit helps. So let's just talk for the last part of this free version. Let's talk about the layout. So this is where you select the template. So when I go here, this is that basic first template. And you can edit widgets to the sidebar, decide what you want to put in the sidebar. So that is the information that's here. If you want to put more things in there, mobile app download, you want to say to people how to download it on Apple phones. Sorry, and Android. It's going to, it's over here. Following is over here. It's going to add that. You can add different pages. I'm not sure what you can do in the free version. If you want to set up a about me page, contact me page, other sort of things page, you can add that. You can edit the CSS if you're into that. So down here, you're going to get the free versions. You can activate a complete different type of theme. So when you review it, it's a different layout on the theme, whatever suits you. On the free version, you can't actually preview it, can you? So you're limited to what you can do, but you can just see from there, there's different options to quickly change it. Click on an individual, play. So you're limited on here. On the paid version, you can change the background image. You can change the color style, episodes per page you can change. But you can't do it so much on the free version. So I'm going to show you some more lessons now on my login and a bit more on the premium features versus the free one. So I've logged in as me. I'm going to go to my podcast again. We're going to get back to that. So I only launched it yesterday. So 50, I'm not sure about the stats. I don't feel like 50. I think it might be me that have clicked on them then rather than anybody else listening yet. The publish area is the same. So in the layout, you'll see I can now edit and pick a size and edit the images, change the colors and save it. I've got more premium themes that actually you're allowed to view. So you can say, well, that looks cool. You can activate that instead. You know, if I go then to my website, I quite like that actually. I'm going to leave it as that for now. I can go to shareable. So another thing that wasn't on was connect to Spotify. So all you have to do is click connect and it'll link to Spotify. Your Spotify link. You basically get an email the next day saying this is your Spotify link. And there's my Spotify. You don't have to do anything. I don't want to disconnect it and save it, but you literally just connect and it does it for you. 12 hours later, you get an email saying here's your connection, and you're just working. But it'll take maybe another day to actually show up on Spotify. So that's really cool. Literally, you just click. When you click YouTube, it will share a video. When I click Facebook, it will offer to share a video. Setting up your own domain. So I've got mine as podcast.paulnicholson. Let me start that again. If you want to set your own domain up, and you're on the premium version, you come to this page. And what you need to do is you need to go to your DNS settings within your hosting, whether it's GoDaddy, Cloudflare I use. This is actually a picture of Cloudflare. I don't know, whatever hosting you go to your DNS settings, and you're going to need to set up a CNAME. So if you're going to make this your main website, you're going to need to do www. And then add this, and it will point the main root of your domain to that. I obviously here use podcast.paulnicholson. So I would put in here CNAME podcast, then this information, and add record. And then what that would do is points the podcast to the CNAME, the place where does it need to go to look. And then the funky stuff back end makes it work. You want to turn this on. You want to be always secure. You'll get better search options if you're a secure website. Turn it on, and then what you get is, if I go to podcast, you get this little green padlock. Visit the site information. You are secure. Everybody likes to see it say secure up there. So that is when you turn that on. Save it. It may take a while to take, depending on your DNS settings, but it will take pretty quickly if you're on the 6-minute setting. Cloudflare goes a bit faster. Then you just test it, bro. So just make sure you've got a CNAME. Add a new record to your DNS settings. CNAME. Put in whatever it's going to be. If it's the root, if you want it to be a main website, www. If it's going to be something like podcast or blog or audio, whatever it's going to be, type it in there. So I would put in here podcast. Then in the record, I would say point it to here. Point it to this pbcdn2.podbean.com. Leave that as automatic and save. You won't have this option. If it says TTL, change it to 600 seconds, and that'll take in 6 minutes and add record. Okay? As always, hit the forum, hit the comments below in YouTube. If you're having problems, I'll help you. I'm just going to go back through how to set up Spotify. So go back to settings, go social share, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to click connect to Spotify. I've already done it. It's just going to say connect to Spotify and click OK if it says OK. And it's going to give you, it's going to say we've submitted your URL, your feed to Spotify. About 12 hours later, you're going to get an email. And your podcast is on Spotify now. So we're glad to inform you, right? And then you would click this link, which was the same link that you've just seen. So here it is on Spotify. When I first got the email, it didn't work. You're gonna have to. I think it says it in the email actually. For users to get your podcast, it may take a couple of days for the link to be active. So don't worry if it doesn't show. I would say mine started working 12 hours later. And now when you go to Spotify, you can, if I go home and get rid of this search, you search Paul Nicholson, happy me, you can see there's the podcast. It probably takes 12 hours after the email, or it may be faster, it may be longer, slower. But that's how you do it. That's all you've got to do. You're going to go to, God, I've got so many tabs open. Social share, connect to Spotify, and you will get are you sure? I don't know if it says, are you sure? It will connect. You'll get an email saying it's working. You don't have to do anything. It's really cool. You don't have to do anything more than that. So I'm going to wrap it up. I think it's really cool. I don't want this video to get too long. I want you to get started. There's obviously more things it can do. There's stats and there's premium stuff, Start creating content where only people can pay. Your premium post ready to accept credit cards. So you can say to people, this is premium content. This is only for paid members. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but you can click on advertising and get adverts dropped in there. So you can make money through adverts. Obviously, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't do too much premium content. I wouldn't do too much adverts. Get people listening, get people trusting you, start getting your voice out there. And it's not that easy, is it? You've just seen in 30 minutes how to do it for free, how the $15 version that I use is a little bit better, especially if you want to be on Spotify, how it can be right there within a matter of an hour. You'll have it all set up. So I hope this helped. Leave a comment, whether you're watching it on my forum, in my training, or on YouTube. Leave a comment. If you're struggling, I'll help you. Just ask the question, and I will always jump in and try and help. I hope this was useful. If you go to pnuk.co/Podbean, I'll put a link throughout the video, and that is my affiliate link. Sign up and I'll get a little bit of commission for sending you their way. But I wanted to show you that I use it. I think it's good, and it was very, very easy to set up. Thanks for watching, guys. See you all again soon. Cheers.